Good morning. Welcome to the River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Reverend Connie Simon, and I am your interim minister. If this is your first time here in person, we welcome you. We hope that you'll stop by the welcome table, which is outside these doors, so that we can get to know you and get you connected to things that are going on here. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, good morning, YouTube. Feel free to join in the chat with our online host. If you're watching this at a later date and have questions, visit our website, and there are ways that you can connect with us. I have several announcements this morning. I'm sorry there are so many, but they are all important. First thing is that we have a guest with us today. We have my friend and colleague, Reverend Morgan McLean. He's here with us this morning. She serves our Unitarian Universalist Association as the Director of Global Connections. In this position, she oversees all of the UUA's international programs and relationships with our global Unitarian Universalist and Free Church partners, as well as with the Holding India program. She's been in this role since 2024, and I know that because before that, she was a minister at the UU Church of Davis in California, and when she and the other minister there left, they needed an interim. So it seems that whatever I do, I just follow her around, I guess. I don't know. So I'm excited to be here with her in this different capacity today. The Ministerial Search Committee reminds you to watch the e-weekly this week for information on how to register for the Break Barriers, Build Beliefs workshop, which will be held on Saturday, March 28th. I think there was an incorrect date in a previous version of the e-weekly, and we apologize for that. But this important anti-oppression training is required for every congregation seeking a settled minister. It is not optional. It is required. And it is supportive of our 8th principle commitment to be a more welcoming and inclusive community. So please plan to attend. There will be food. I got to tell you all that. There will be food. UU congregations are diverse in so many ways that we don't pay attention to. One way to celebrate this diversity is through languages that shape our lives and inform the experiences we have among those whose languages differ from our own. So our next Flow event this Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 is a potluck celebration in observance of International Mother Language Day. Come and get to know River Roaders in a different way. Also, next weekend, we'll be very busy here. On Saturday night, we'll be having the annual Winter Cabaret. I am not playing chopsticks this year. Did I say chopsticks? Chopsticks. What is wrong with my mouth this morning? I'm not playing chopsticks either. Admission is free, but please plan to bring a potluck dish to share. There will be a cash bar. Doors open at 6. And if you behave yourselves on Saturday or you aren't too tired, we hope that you will come back on Sunday for our stewardship brunch. See the theme? Food, food, food. Brunch starts right after service and marks the kickoff of this year's stewardship campaign. We need volunteers to help chop and prep on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And of course, donations of breads, rolls, muffins, and treats are most definitely welcome. Volunteer sign-up links can be found in the e-weekly. Details for all of these programs can be found on our website at rruuc.org. We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, with these words. We light this chalice in recognition that our faith knows no borders. May this flame remind us of the connections that bind us to Unitarian Universalists around the world in common purpose, shared hope, and love. Thank you. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and let's sing hymn number 352, Find a Stillness.
Good morning. I'm Laura Piervincenzi, Associate Director of Religious Education. Today's Prophetic Voices is called Our Place in the Cosmos, written by Reverend Erica Hewitt, who is the Minister of Worship Arts for the UUA. We humans have always looked up at the stars, wondered about them, and even told stories about them. During the many thousands of years that human beings have been looking up at the stars, we've changed our understanding of what the universe looks like and how it works. More than 500 years ago, a man named Nicholas Copernicus was born in Poland. He watched the stars and planets and used his observations to come up with a unique and to some upsetting idea. In his day, most people thought that the Earth was at the center of the universe. They also thought that the stars were little holes in a glass ball around the Earth. Copernicus thought, what if the universe doesn't move around the Earth? What if the Earth is actually a planet circling the sun? He wrote a book about this idea, which was not popular. If he hadn't died soon after, it's possible he would have been put in jail for it. Today, we know, of course, that Copernicus was right. Our planet Earth circles the sun, which is a star. It took hundreds of years for people to finally believe this and to stop saying that the Earth was at the center of the universe. The belief that the universe revolved around Earth was so stuck in people's minds that it had become a part of religion. When Copernicus said, "I don't think the heavens revolve around the Earth," he was speaking as a scientist, but the church heard it as challenging their religion. There's a word for that: heresy. That meant that not just scientists, but anyone could get in big trouble for promoting the idea that the sun was at the center of our solar system. This story of Copernicus intersects with the story of our Unitarian ancestors. Not too far from where Copernicus watched the planets and stars, there was a land called Transylvania, a land of rolling green hills and mountains. Transylvania is where some of the first Unitarians built their churches and formed their faith, right about the same time that Copernicus wrote his book about the Earth revolving around the sun. Our Unitarian ancestors already knew what it was like to say and believe things that could get them in trouble. One of those things was Ej Az Ishten, or God is one. When Unitarians said God is one, they were saying that they didn't agree with the Christian doctrine that Jesus was God incarnate. They were saying he was fully human. A lot of Unitarians in Transylvania and elsewhere died because they wouldn't stop believing and saying that. One of the villages in Transylvania, today a part of Romania that's ethnically Hungarian, is Oakland. Its Unitarian church is over 400 years old. Like many Transylvanian Unitarian churches, the church has a wooden ceiling that's divided into deep square panels. Most of them have flowers or plants painted on them, but there's one very special ceiling panel, a sun surrounded by circling planets. It is a diagram of the Copernican solar system. In Blessing the World, Rebecca Parker writes, "Holy regard for knowledge is at the heart of our religious faith. At a time when religion was opposing science, our ancestors in the remote mountains and valleys of Transylvania built sanctuaries that affirmed the discoveries of science. They did so even when the dominant religious culture advocated ideologies that allowed no new revelation." Let us celebrate these gifts, which have been woven into our religious DNA. We belong to a tradition in which religion and science have never been forced apart or asked each other to be silent. We, as a people, encourage one another to explore and discover, to ask questions, and declare that revelation is not sealed and will never be sealed, and to freely follow the call, whatever its source, that connects us most deeply to the world inside of us and to the universe around us. I have a quick announcement about classrooms today. The kindergartners through fifth graders will all be together upstairs in the fireside room. And so at this time, I invite all children and educators to go to their classes. Thank you.
It's that time again, friends. It's a time in our service when we honor the joys and sorrows that have been on our hearts and our minds since last we were together. And we're going to do it a little differently today. We're going to start by singing Spirit of Life in English. Huh? Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the strength of compassion. In communities all over the country, immigrant families of many different ethnicities live in fear as ICE raids separate parents from children and shatter the lives we've built together. We hold in our hearts those who have faced and continue to face deportation, those hiding in sanctuary, and those working courageously for justice and dignity for all. We are aware that these people come from all over the world, that they speak many, many different languages. But to honor them all today, collectively, let us now sing Spirit of Life in Spanish. It's interesting to me how many of you lit up with joy singing that. That tells me something. That tells me that when we think about our international connections, when we think about our mother languages, everyone's mother language is not English. As we were planning this service last week, I said, oh, we'll just have them sing it from the hymnal. And then I remembered River Road doesn't use the Spanish language UU hymnal. There is one, you know. So we are going to continue on with this joys and sorrows this morning. And for me, watching you sing was my joy. Thank you. In Transylvania, Unitarians navigate their own history of persecution, while the region's Roma communities face ongoing marginalization and violence. We remember that the work of justice is never finished, and that beloved community must be built everywhere. If you know Hungarian, you are welcome to sing Spirit of Life in Hungarian with us. If you are not comfortable doing so, please enjoy hearing Cliff play it. I am not. for all our siblings throughout the cosmos, for all the things on our hearts, for all our personal joys and sorrows, we pause now for a moment of silent meditation, reflection, or prayer, after which we will sing Spirit of Life again in English. Thank you. Each month, we extend our offering to an organization or cause that reflects our values as Unitarian Universalists. This month, our Extend the Offering beneficiary is the Unitarian Universalist Legislative Ministry of Maryland, UULM-MD. It is a statewide action network of UUs who work to educate, engage, and mobilize UUs to advocate for special issues before the Maryland General Assembly. Working in coalition with local, state, and national organizations, UULM-MD promotes and affirms the inherent worth and dignity of all, reverence for the interdependent web of all existence, and justice, health, and equity in society. They approach each issue through an anti-racism, anti-oppression lens to deepen an understanding of the impact of policies on historically marginalized communities and people of color. UULM-MD's work is grounded in the belief that everyone should be able to exercise their basic human rights, to achieve their fullest potential, and to live in a healthy, sustainable environment. Priority issues for the current session include climate change, immigration, reproductive freedom, and economic justice. There are several ways you can support this work. You can place your cash or check donation in the offering basket, or text to give by sending a text message to 73256 Type RRUUC and the amount, or you can visit our website at rruuc.org and click the blue Give Online button on the home page. As always, if this is your first time visiting, please feel free to let the basket pass you by. Your presence is your gift to us. Thank you for sharing your time, your talent, and your treasures. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
Joel Schrag, and before I speak a few words, I think we have some images we'd like to share with all of you. So you may have recognized a somewhat younger version of me in some of the pictures we just saw. It wasn't that long ago. So I became involved in River Road's Partner Church Committee almost 15 years ago after chatting with a couple of longtime members at a social justice fair. The social justice fairs can work. One of these members, Dwight Kramer, who really was a giant in leadership at River Road, he was a very hard person to say no to. So of course I ended up on the email distribution list and became involved. And at that time, River Road's two partnerships were already long-standing. The partnership with Fiat Falva in Transylvania, part of Romania, had started in 1992. The second, with the congregation in Mablong in the Kazi Hills of Northeast India, had started in 2007. And before I joined the committee, I knew that these partnerships existed, but I didn't really know why they had been established. Thinking about it now, I think that the best explanation is that in 1992, there was really a remarkable group of outward-facing members in our congregation. Some with foreign service experience, like Dwight Kramer himself and Janet Fernandez. Others with Peace Corps experience, like Marion Cannell and Pat Wand. Together with Bill Murray, who was River Road's senior minister at the time, they looked around at the world at the end of the Cold War, and they saw two things. First, they saw that there were a lot of people in need out there. And second, they saw that thanks to our incredible abundance here, River Road was in a position to help. And in fact, in the early years, material support for our partners really played a significant role in these relationships. Like other Unitarians in Transylvania, our friends in Fiat Falva needed a helping hand after the Iron Curtain came down and the Ceausescu dictatorship ended. Basic necessities were in short supply, and there were the lingering effects of discrimination against ethnic Hungarians, including the Unitarian community, by the Romanian government. River Road responded with funding for education, building projects, and even a tractor for farmers in the Fiat Falva congregation, which they used to plow their fields. Our friends in Mablong similarly needed support for many projects, including building latrines, strengthening their school, and even purchasing a new bell that they could use to call their members to worship on Sunday morning. River Road's generosity made and continues to make a real difference in both places. But here's the thing, it really isn't all about the money. Ideally, it isn't even mostly about the money, even when the money does play an important role. Instead, an important purpose of these partnerships is to form real relationships of mutual support and shared purpose with people with whom we share a religion, even though we don't necessarily see eye to eye with them on everything. As you saw in those pictures we just shared, many River Roaders have visited Fiat Falva and Mablong over the years, and people from both places have visited us here in Bethesda. I've had the privilege of visiting both partners, and a couple of things struck me. Not surprisingly, their services are not exactly like ours, and not just because the languages are different. Their theology is more explicitly theist. On some issues that matter profoundly to us, like marriage equality, there are differences of opinion. And yet there's also warmth, there's welcome, there's curiosity, there's a genuine desire both to share their history with us and to make new history together by collaborating on issues of common interest, such as expanding educational opportunities for children or protecting our environment. Partnership is not about agreeing on everything. If it were, we would struggle even here within River Road. Well, maybe sometimes we struggle. Partnership asks something deeper. Can we broaden our definition of the beloved community to include people far away who are different from us in many ways? Can we build and remain in true mutual relationship? In one of the final images in the slideshow, we saw a child in Mablong wearing a t-shirt that said, "Believe there's good in the world." And Marcia, maybe you could show us that picture again. But if you look closely, you could also read another message woven in that t-shirt, "Be the good in the world." That feels like the challenge before us to reconcile those two commands. These relationships were begun by a far-sighted group of River Roaders at a particular moment in history. They've been tended for more than 3 decades by many in our congregation, Some still with us, some no longer here. For these relationships to endure, they will need to be renewed by new generations in their own time, responding to their own challenges. In the congregational survey we took last fall, many of you indicated that these partnerships are a valued part of River Road's identity. The question is not whether they mattered in the past. They did. The question is whether we will continue to tend them and to live into that invitation we saw on a child's shirt. Believe there is good in the world and be the good in the world. Thank you.
Good morning. It is really good to be with you, and thank you, choir, for that beautiful music and everything, the music so far. Isn't it fun to see all those languages? I saw you have the insert to think about the ways that we express our faith in different places. Thank you, Connie, for the invitation and for the introduction. And I have to say, I think I have the best job in the Unitarian Universalist Association because I have this great pleasure of just talking to UUs around the world all day, every day. And I never know what's going to come. It's always interesting. Sometimes it's quite early in the morning and quite late at night. And sometimes it's on... everyone prefers a different messaging app. So it's WhatsApp and Signal and Facebook Messenger. And one person even texts me only on Instagram, which I thought you only send, silly memes to your friends on Instagram. And today when I say you, I am putting a slash between the U's. So I would like you to imagine that, if you would, when I say you, because not everybody is a Unitarian Universalist. Unitarianism and Universalism came together uniquely in the United States, although some communities have adopted Unitarian Universalism. I'll tell you a little bit about that in the Philippines. But certainly your partners here in Transylvania and in India are Unitarian. So U/U encompasses Unitarian, Universalist, and also free Christian traditions. If you're learning for the first time just today that there are UUs outside of the United States, you're probably not alone, and I hope that you find this interesting. So I'm going to introduce a couple more communities to you and pick up a little bit about what Joel started to talk about our relationships, the quality of our relationships with these partners. And I want to encourage you, there might be something that's interesting to you. So will you promise me, if you hear something, that you'll make a note to yourself, send yourself a text or get out a pen and pencil and Google something later today about something you hear today, okay? So Joel and I had the opportunity to work together on the board of the organization called the UU Partner Church Council, which is now dissolved, but it was the organization that facilitated building the partnerships that we heard about on the North American side. And we had lots of really interesting conversations in that organization about how do we build the relationships. And Joel, I think you did such a beautiful job of talking about the context of the time that we come into relationship and how relationships and needs change over time, and how do we look at where we are and what world we live in. And Joel, I didn't think you aged so much. I mean, you're no Rob Lowe, but you look pretty good. Pretty good. So we have, if you imagine a map of the world, and if we were to put pins in these communities, in these UU communities around the world, there would be a pin in Brazil. There'd be a pin in South Africa and Burundi and the United Kingdom. And there would be pins in India and Indonesia and the Philippines and Australia and New Zealand and many places in between. And each of those pins represents its own unique history, its own unique social context for how this faith came alive and what it means to those certain people in that certain place. Just like it does here, where Unitarians and Universalists emerged in their own context and came together in a unique way. Anyone want to tell me what year? Pop quiz. What year did the Unitarians and Universalists come together? 1961. Good. Thank you. So you didn't know there were going to be quizzes today. In the United Kingdom, the first Unitarian service was held in 1774 in outside of London, and the British Unitarians merged with the Free Christian churches in 1928. Just like we had our own merger, they had a merger. And we have new communities established all along the way. The Unitarian Universalist community in Brazil had their first meeting just 1 year ago. We don't have a worldwide pope. If we did, it would be me, and that would be scary. Yeah. Although maybe I could get like a pointy hat, and that would be fun. And we don't all believe the same thing, and we are related. Sometimes we say siblings in faith, but I think it's a little more like second cousins twice removed in faith. So we have some shared, pretty radical beliefs. They're still radical beliefs that we can change the world with our love. That is a radical belief, and that has taken hold across the globe from people from the same source, reading those same passages in the Bible, feeling inspired by the life of Jesus, by the humanity of Jesus, by the idea of a loving God, things that are radically inclusive and welcoming. We share a yearning for connection and for opportunities to deepen one's own faith by being in relationship with one another. And we share a commitment to including broad groups of people and involving people in community. I was in the Philippines in April. Oh, well, remember, who was here when the Transylvanian choir led the service in April? Yes, that was so wonderful. Now there's a theme here, because I was in this space, and 5 days later, I flew to the Philippines. And in 5 days, I'm flying to India. So invite me next year, and then we'll see what exciting place. Yeah, oh, right. All right, Joel, Ursula, next year. Sorry, I'm going off script. I got to stay focused. So in the Philippines, I was talking about this radical faith, and, we kind of celebrate being radical. It did not land well. They said, well, radical? We're not radicals. That's politics, and political radicals are bad news. So no, we're not radicals. Oh yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning. And in Transylvania, I said something about a communal cup. And they were like, ooh, no, we don't do communism. We were oppressed under communism, so there's nothing, we don't do communal. So it's funny how these little words that mean something to us really mean something different to our folks around the world. We heard about Transylvania. So in Transylvania, there was a Unitarian king. In 1568, this Unitarian king, John Sigismund, issued this far-reaching edict of religious tolerance. He was the first and only Unitarian king that I know of. Does anyone else know of any other Unitarian monarchs? King John Sigismund had this advisor, Francis David, who had discovered this kind of idea of Unitarianism, and in that context, there was a need for religious freedom. There was a desire for Catholics and Calvinists and Lutherans and now Unitarians to get along in that time of after the Reformation, as Europe is that thought is moving through. So this edict of Torda, the debate was held in the church in Torda, becomes a far-reaching religious toleration law. It did not include Orthodox Christians or Jewish people or Muslims, and we know that we still struggle with that idea today about religious freedom. But for those Unitarians 450 years ago, that meant that they had some standing among these big groups, among the Catholic Church, among the Calvinists and the Lutherans. And they could find their own way and define for themselves who they were. And they are ethnically Hungarian, but after World War I, that mountainous region of Transylvania was given to Romania. So then our Transylvanian Hungarians were living in a new country in Romania. And then after, in 1950s, after World War II, 1950s, moving towards Romania went under communism. So then they were living under communism. So their identity kept being challenged and challenged, but they have stuck together in this Hungarian community. There are about 150 Unitarian congregations in Transylvania, and that's about 50,000 people. And basically, and this is true in India, you are born into the faith for the most part. You're born into a Hungarian family, you live in a Hungarian village, and you go to the Hungarian Unitarian Church. They do have a bishop. The Hungarian Unitarian Church has a bishop and a catechism, and that catechism has over 100 points, 100 things that the young people need to learn. And one of those points is, how do we understand God? And the answer is, we perceive God as soul and love. And then they quote John, God is spirit, and they that worship God must worship in spirit and in truth. And to me, that's something that I've learned from the Hungarian Unitarian Church, that they worship together in spirit and truth, in truth of who they are and what they believe, no matter what has come in their social context over 450 years. They have never given up. And the strength comes from their identity and from their love and their care for each other. In India, they are also Unitarians, and your partner church is, so if you picture India on a map, it's sort of a diamond shape. So there's actually another state that is out of that diamond. It's like a little finger that goes off the northeast side of India and north of Bangladesh, and that is northeast India. It's a state called Meghalaya, and that is where the Unitarian Union of Northeast India is found. And they have about 25 congregations, and as Joel shared, most of those congregations have a school. And that area, Meghalaya, is actually a region that never had, where Hinduism was never really a stronghold. It had an indigenous religion that had a belief in one creator God. And when the Welsh Methodist missionaries arrived in that area in the 19th century, I think they found a reception to a story about one God. And they also translated the Bible, as we know missionaries did, into one of the local languages, thereby creating the written language. It had been an oral tradition, but the missionaries created Kasi as a written language. And today, the Kasi people are just one of 3 major tribes that are now become part of Unitarian. So within the Unitarian Union of Northeast India, we see a lot of cultural differences too. The founder, his name was Hajam Kishore Singh, and he began to ask these radical questions about the nature of Jesus and Jesus' relationship to God. And soon he learned that other people had asked these questions, and eventually he got connected to the writings of William Ellery Channing, a Unitarian minister here. And then, and so he thought, oh, well, yeah, Unitarian, that's what I'm talking about. So he adopted Unitarianism, but had the word Unitarian, but had kind of developed the philosophy and the understanding himself. One of his ideas is that's in their hymn book, that's the first part of their hymn book, is there's one God, one church, one people, one mission. Love God, love friends, live a blessed life. So in 1887, Jam Kishore Singh led the first Unitarian service, and still today that tradition is carried forward because there were 3 people at that first service in a home. And so those home services have been an important part of the tradition, and those congregations celebrate that anniversary every year. And I just think this is great, and I would love for us to try it sometime. Leading up to the anniversary day, September 18th, they visit every home in the congregation to come back to that sense of being together and knowing each other. And sometimes they might go to 2 or 3 homes in a night, and they have tea, and they sing a hymn, and they say a prayer, and they're together in lots of special ways. They did adopt the chalice, the flaming chalice, just like ours, as their symbol, and they celebrate it with joy. And you will find a picture of the symbol of a chalice, like with neon lights. Literally, neon lights on the church. Or during that anniversary day, the church in Jawide, which is one of the big church, has a parade through the streets, and they have an actual large like real flaming chalice on a truck bed that drives through the church in a parade. Their motto is keep on progressing. And I love that. I have learned about joy and hospitality from them, about the invitation to deepening your faith and expressing it publicly. Such a wonderful, wonderful place. So if we travel from India to outside of Nairobi in the southwest part of Kenya, you will find the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kenya. It is one of several communities in Kenya. In fact, I just spoke with someone last week who has now started a new LGBT Unitarian Universalist community in Nairobi. They use the African philosophy, Ubuntu, as their community motto, I am because you are. And in that congregation that I'm speaking of, they have about 300 members, and they speak at least 3 different languages together, their native home languages. And their lead minister, Justin Magara, describes the basic meaning and purpose of the church is love and tolerance to another in community. They find their theological grounding in community values and also in those 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. And I have learned a lot from them, from those communities, about responding to the needs in the hyper-local neighborhoods and finding places where folks who speak different languages, who have really different world experiences can come together and find hope in community. I mentioned the Philippines, so we travel the globe over to the Philippines. And in the Philippines, it was actually Universalism that emerged. On one island, the island of Negros, led by a man named Toribio Quimada. He was a young man in the 1930s, and he read the Bible for himself, finding a new understanding of this love of God. And he eventually connected that word Universalist to the Universalist Church in America. And in 1954, he was excommunicated from the church that he was serving, and he kind of started his own Universalist church in the Philippines, and he became the minister of 9 different congregations. And then very quickly that grew to 21 congregations within 10 years. Today there are 27 congregations, and they have a goal of 50 by 2050. And on that island of Negros, the main language is not Tagalog, but Cebuano. And most folks there speak Cebuano in those congregations. The UU Church of the Philippines also adopted those 7 Unitarian Universalist principles, but they added an 8th one and made it first. And that is, there is a God, and God is love. So there's so many more little stories and little and big communities I could introduce you to, and I hope that someday you'll have a chance to learn more about some of these communities and to visit some of them and to work with Joel and Ursula and getting to know your partners and thinking about the relationship. For me, it's been inspiring to be in relationship with these communities and find out more about the unique ways that Unitarianism and Universalism has emerged in people that are committed to values of love and acceptance. This work has also been, for me, a daily invitation to practice inclusion in new ways. An important part of my work has been taking a step back and reflecting on the American side of engagement. I see patterns of American tendencies that you might also call Western or capitalistic or colonial tendencies that we Americans, mostly white Americans, have had that do not always foster equal relationships. Americans are exceedingly generous, and organizations here have been able to do tremendous work around the globe thanks to that American generosity. And we saw those pictures. That generosity transforms lives, transforms communities. And as I reflect on the systems of relationships, of charity and education, I see that despite our very best intentions, we have perpetuated inequity. We have made inclusion difficult. Our generosity has been uneven. Not every community has a partner. So some partners are really generous, and then their neighboring village has no partner. Well, that doesn't feel good. So our generosity, our excitement has then created conflict, animosity within our partner communities, unintentionally, but still there. And yes, Joel, it is not about money, and it is the root of all evil. It is so complicated, and Americans have a complicated relationship with money, and we also as a culture believe that money can fix anything, and that if we just throw enough money at the issue, it'll get sorted out. And also, by the way, with our money, we're going to tell you the best way to do it, right? So we have some learning to do. Some more reflecting to do. We have some admitting that we might think of ourselves as the most evolved, that we think that our ways will work for everyone. My new learning is that I need to listen a little more, listen to what is needed, listen without making suggestions, because I, like other Americans, can be bossy. And we can influence decisions unintentionally, because we might have 3 great ideas and we present them, and then it's like you get to choose between those 3 great ideas, but we stop listening to what other ideas might come up in the room. I'm unlearning my white American love of spreadsheets. We love spreadsheets. And a sense of work and outcomes. American organizations are hyper-focused on mission and strategic plans. Raise your hand if you have been in a strategic planning process at work, at school. I can feel your eyes rolling. Because we assume that you can lock us in a room for a weekend and we can produce all the answers. All the answers and the due dates outlined for the next 5 or 10 years. So my learning anew is to wonder, how might we center relationships over outcomes? If you find yourself in that room making a 5-year plan, how do you make room for relationships, for creating connections, for new people that might come in through the doors, for inspiration, for a changing world? That is planning for inclusion, for making space. We have made some important shifts, I think, in the Unitarian Universalist Association and our commitment to global work in this way. This is the only thing that I can attempt to influence. I'm not even going to say attempt to control, because I know that's not true. We have worked with, this organization that Joel and I were on the board of, the UU Partner Church Council. There was another organization called the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists, and they functioned a little bit like, they imagined a little bit like the United Nations, where everybody is sort of equal around the table. And I think for a long time in the United States, that idea, not just in Unitarian Universalism, but generally this idea, like, yeah, we're all equal around the table. But we're not. We're equally worthy. We're equally loved. We're equally smart. We have equal ideas and equal experiences to bring to the table, but we're not equal in money or resources or power or influence. So let's just talk about that. So that's been kind of a founding commitment to the new thing that's emerged in the ways after those two organizations dissolved. They said, we know things need to change, but we don't want to just recreate something in our own image. So let's make space for something new. And that is really hard, and it's really hard for Americans, and it's really hard for UUs to let go. Some of our Christian friends might say, let go and let God. But let go and let truth, let spirit, let radical inspiration. Let go and let's see what can happen if we just let it. So we have now something called the UU Global Network, and the Unitarian Universalist Association is part of it. We are the beneficiary of a trust that says we get to spend money on stuff like this, so we do. We support it financially. And this team, this UU Global Network is led by 7 people with varying levels of experience. They're not all ministers. They're not all professionals. Half of them are under 40. And all of them are committed to creating communities in new ways. They're creative thinkers. They're learning together anew. They're having awkward conversations about money and power and privilege. And their goal is to facilitate connection, not to direct it, not to create programs of what they think should be, people should like, but to follow the energy, to say, you like knitting? I know someone else who likes knitting. You should talk. You like creating worship? I know someone else who wants to create worship too. So following the energy for organic creativity and connection and making these spaces broader, more equitable, more interesting for folks from a variety of backgrounds. I encourage you, and again, you might want to take notes, to look up the UU Global Network, uuglobalnetwork.org. And they also have a Facebook page, and they have been debating about how best to create community. Should we be on Facebook? Should we just be on websites? Should we have email servers? And they decided they are going to really focus on their Discord server. Discord is where everyone under 25 is creating community. That's why you've never heard of it. We keep saying that's who we want to be there. So let's go to where they are and not have folks come to where we are. So the Discord server, so sign up for Discord and check it out. This is the future of our global faith. We're connected more than ever now, thanks to Zoom and WhatsApp and Google Translate. And I don't know if you know this, but Zoom has a translation feature, and it can do Hungarian actually quite well now. So you can, I think it's $5 a month. It's like an add-on. So you get to choose the language you're speaking and the language that you want to read your captions in. So it does really beautifully, of course, with the Western Romance languages. It does pretty good with Hungarian, but it has like 20 or 30 other languages. They keep adding more. So check it out, because then we get to have conversations with people speaking their own language, expressing themselves, not struggling through English for our benefit, but really speaking, expressing themselves in their own ways. Sorry, back to my script. We at the UUA and the Global Connections Office really try to commit to this idea of decentering Western ways, decentering our voices, to making space for leadership to emerge that isn't from the United States of America, and to continue to find tools like this Zoom translation software. But also, AI is, I'm not a proponent, but you can put a document in to ChatGPT and say, just translate this, and it does pretty well. It's amazing. This technology is opening up connections. And then there's this piece of continuing to reflect on our patterns, on our attitudes, on our generosity, our wealth. And these are not insignificant things to reflect on. Because sometimes you say radical, and it means something to you, but it means something completely different in a different context. So how can we think about our use of language, the sharing of our wealth, the ways that we understand our North American selves in this global context? I hope that you'll join me in that, in continuing to think for yourself about what it means to be an American in this world today, but also an American UU connected to many second cousins twice removed in faith. You can also go to my office website is uua.org/global, and we have we have resources, we have information, and starting on Friday, we have a learning series starting that we're collaborating with Meadville Lombard Theological School, but it's free and anyone is welcome to it. And the learning series is called Wealth in a Post-Imperial Faith. So we're going to be diving into more of these types of questions and reflections about imperialism and Western American capitalistic colonial tendencies, and how we can move together forward differently, build new ways. You and we are all part of this, and I think it's a really exciting time to be part of this global community. So thank you for being here today. Thank you, Joel and Ursula, and so many other people. I see other faces here who support partnership, who have been grappling with these questions for decades too, and finding new ways about the quality of relationships, and for finding new connections with our global faith. Thank you.
While the choir. Brian. We're, okay. The choir's now going to sing a piece that's in our blue hymnal. It's a little bit difficult to pull off as a hymn, but maybe we'll do it as a hymn later on. It's called the Zekli Aldash, which is the Zekli blessing. And I just wanted to introduce it so you know what's going on. There are two tunes. The first tune has the Hungarian words, the blessing in Hungarian, and then there's a second tune that's a translation of that blessing that you'll hear the choir do, and then you'll hear them put together. The music itself is by my friend Beth Norton up at the First Parish in Concord. Her choir has gone to Transylvania to their partner church many times, so we'll have to catch up with Beth, I guess.
Hello, I'm Ursula Scott, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what values you can live by participating in this partner church program. One, our sixth principle challenges us to build a world of peace, liberty, and justice for all. And our seventh principle calls us to respect the interdependence of us. What better way but to live our values, to challenge ourselves, to be open to new experiences and new people, and increase our understanding. We can visit people overseas, or they can come here. Like in April, we had the choir come, and it was such a good experience. We shared ourselves with them, and they shared their music and their history with us. We can connect to our faith. Like the first time I went to Transylvania, I was just curious and thought, this is my chance to go. And it really helped me deepen my faith and understanding of Unitarianism. It became a real pilgrimage. And the group was able to share a worship service, which the minister kindly put part of it in English so that we could really share it with them. And it deepened our understanding. And in that village, the church for 300 years has been shared by two congregations, the Unitarian and the Dutch Reformed Church. That's quite an accomplishment. We were able to see it's a farming village. They have a deep love of the land and sustainability. They have a forest that they maintain, not just for now, but for the future. We deepened our understanding of what their life is like, and they also shared with us, and we shared with them. I encourage you to join the Partner Church Committee as we build this new relationship that Reverend Morgan was talking about and make a new path. International engagement can also be fun. Joel and I went for the 450th anniversary of the Edict of Torda. We were able to spend time with them. We enjoyed their music, their food, their fellowship, and of course their wine. And let's not forget there's Palinka, which is a brandy. But we also learned there's more to Transylvania than Dracula. Just saying. So we invite you to join us at one of our Zoom sessions where we have a chance to visit with them. And you never know what you're going to talk about. We spent an hour one time, or a good part of the hour, talking about horses and horse culture in the U.S. and in Transylvania. So you never know what you're going to get. But it gives us a chance to have a deeper relationship and friendship. And that's what it is about, and being open to that kind of thing. So please see Joel and I, or other members of the committee after this to understand more about what we do and what cultural engagement beyond our shores really means. Thank you.
Thank you all. We've had a very full morning. You've learned a lot. And we're going to now extinguish our chalice by reading together the words that appear on the screen from Elizabeth Sell Jones. Together we say, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again." Shwai will bless us with some music, and then we'll hear closing words.
Our benediction today is from Mwibutsa Najimana, the founder of the Unitarian Church of Burundi. He was persecuted for his beliefs. He was kidnapped for a short period of time and then was able to flee the country in 2015 and find refuge in Canada, where he now lives and occasionally preaches at the church in Ottawa. I am grateful for the faith that reminds me all the time to have faith in the human capacity of building a more just and fairer world, to have faith in our responsibility as we live in this place, to have faith in the many possibilities that God has for us, and to be open to freely embrace them. So may it be. Amen.